Desmond? I wasn't expecting your call at this moment, the man said through the speaker. Tonya's laughter faltered. The guards looked at one another. Desmond's tone was calm, professional. Good evening, sir. I apologize for disturbing you this late. I just walked into Velvet Pearl, your restaurant, and I'd like to make an offer. I had heard you wanted to sell it out. I want to buy it, Desmond said. His words were steady, clean, and confident. The entire restaurant seemed to freeze. Even the air held its breath. From behind the counter, Tonya let out a short, disbelieving laugh. Buy it? You hear that? She said loudly, addressing the diners. He says he wants to buy the restaurant. What kind of foolish drama is this? Are you aware of the valuation? The CEO asked. Desmond ignored her and continued speaking into the phone. Yes, I'm aware of its valuation, $500 million, but I will give you $600 million. Transfer is ready. If you're willing to sell it right now, I'll wire the payment right now. The CEO's tone changed. $600 million? Yes, sir, Desmond replied. A pause, long and weighty. Then came the sound of a slow exhale. Desmond, you're serious, aren't you? I've never been more serious. All right, the CEO said finally, his voice now all business. Go ahead and send it. We'll finalize the paperwork tomorrow. It's yours, Desmond smiled faintly. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your trust. Anytime, the CEO said warmly. And congratulations, Mr. Desmond. The call ended. The restaurant was dead silent. The guards stood motionless. Clara's mouth hung open slightly. Tonya blinked several times, forcing a laugh that no longer sounded confident. Fake call, she said, waving a dismissive hand. It's a fake call. Nobody sells restaurants over the phone. Desmond logged into his app and sent the money. After that, he slipped his phone back into his pocket and turned to her. His eyes had no anger in them now, only an icy calm that felt far more dangerous. Believe what you want, he said. But the deal's done. I've paid for this restaurant. Right now, I'm the CEO. Really? She said, her laugh cracking a little. You think anyone here believes you just bought Velvet Pearl? With what money? Desmond opened his banking app, tapped a few buttons, and showed the screen to her. The number glowed large and bright. $600 million, transaction complete. Her face went pale. He tucked the phone away and leaned slightly forward. Now, he said softly, almost kindly, you might want to go in and start arranging your things. You'll be leaving soon. The words hit her harder than any slap could. For a moment, she couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Then she gave another hollow laugh, trying to recover her pride. You're not serious. You're bluffing, Desmond. There's no way. Before she could finish, the restaurant doors swung open. The manager, a heavy-set man in a fine suit, his face flushed with confusion, hurried in, holding a phone in one trembling hand. He looked around the room, scanning faces until his gaze landed on Desmond. Excuse me, he called, his voice echoing through the hall. Who is the man that just bought the restaurant? And just like that, every whisper stopped. Every fork, every glass, every movement froze in mid-air. All eyes turned to Desmond. The restaurant fell into a strange silence, the kind that happens when the world realizes it's witnessing something unforgettable. Desmond raised his eyes slowly from his table. That would be me, he said. The manager blinked. You bought Velvet Pearl? Desmond nodded. Just a few minutes ago. The man looked down at his phone, his expression tightening. The CEO just called me, he said, voice trembling with a mix of disbelief and urgency. He said the ownership transfer has begun. Effective immediately, all operations are to continue under a new proprietor. He glanced up at Desmond. Mr. Desmond. A wave of murmurs rippled through the restaurant. One of the diners gasped. Another whispered, he really did it. Tonya's eyes went wide, her lips parting in pure shock. No, she breathed. That's impossible. The manager adjusted his tie nervously and bowed slightly toward Desmond. Congratulations, sir. Desmond rose to his feet. The weight of the moment straightened his shoulders. Gone was the man who walked in quietly, trying not to draw attention. What stood there now was someone different. Calm, certain, utterly in control. He glanced around the hall, at every curious, disbelieving face, and then finally at Tonya. She looked small now, her earlier arrogance draining from her like color fading from a picture. Desmond's voice was steady. "It seems there's been a misunderstanding. This young woman," he gestured toward her, "tried to have me thrown out of my own restaurant." The manager's face blanched. "Sir, I'm deeply sorry." "I had no idea. Not your fault," Desmond interrupted gently. "But it won't happen again." He turned his gaze back to Tonya. She stood frozen, the words catching in her throat. "Desmond," she stammered, "I didn't know. I swear, I didn't know you were." He raised a hand, silencing her. "No. You knew exactly what you were. You just didn't know who I'd become." Her eyes glistened. "Desmond, please. I'm sorry. I was stupid. I was proud. I shouldn't have spoken to you like that. Please forgive me." The diners watched in stunned silence. The guards who had come to throw Desmond out now stood uncertainly, their eyes on him, waiting for his command. Desmond's expression didn't soften. "You humiliated me, Tonya. In front of strangers. You made a scene to feel powerful, to make yourself look important. Now you want forgiveness because the tables turned?" She clasped her hands together desperately. "I didn't mean it. I thought you were trying to make trouble. I was angry. I was wrong." Desmond looked at her for a long moment, his face unreadable. "Anger doesn't make cruelty right. You didn't just insult me, Tonya. You showed everyone the kind of person you truly are." She took a step closer, voice trembling. "Desmond, please, don't do this to me. I've worked here for months. This job is all I have. You can't fire me." He looked to the manager. "What's her position?" The manager swallowed. "Senior waitress, sir." Desmond nodded slowly. "Not anymore." Tonya's breath hitched. "No, Desmond, please." He turned to her, his voice sharp now. "You tried to kick me out first, remember? You stood here in front of everyone and tried to destroy my dignity. You said I didn't belong here. You said this restaurant wasn't for people like me. Now I'm the owner. So tell me, Tonya." He leaned in slightly. "Do you think you belong here?" Her knees almost gave out. "Desmond, I'm begging you. I'll do anything. Just let me keep my job. I was stupid, I know that now. Please." The room was thick with tension. Clara, standing at the edge of the scene, bit her lip, torn between pity and disbelief. Desmond sighed, but there was no kindness in it, only exhaustion. "You didn't hesitate to shame someone you once claimed to love. You wanted me to feel small. You wanted to remind me that I wasn't good enough for this world. But life changes, Tonya. People change. Respect should never depend on wealth." Tonya's voice broke. "Desmond, please." He didn't look at her. "Manager," he said quietly, "process her termination. Effective immediately." The manager hesitated, eyes darting between them. "Sir, are you sure?" Desmond's tone left no room for argument. "I'm sure." Tonya shook her head violently. "No. Desmond, you can't. I'll lose everything. Please." I said I'm sorry. But Desmond's eyes were cold now, the kind of cold that comes when the heart has already closed its doors. "Security," he said, turning to the guards who had once been summoned against him. "Do your job. Escort her out." The guards exchanged glances, uneasy, but they obeyed. Tonya stepped back, panic rising. "Desmond, please. Don't do this to me. I'll never forgive myself. Please, I was wrong." Desmond didn't answer. He stood still, watching as the guards gently but firmly took her by the arms. The clatter of her shoes on the marble floor echoed through the silent restaurant. "Desmond!" she cried, twisting in their grip. "Please, Just give me one more chance." He turned away. "I gave you a chance once," he said quietly. "You threw it away." The guards led her toward the glass doors. For a moment, she looked back, her face streaked with tears, her voice breaking into a sob that no longer sounded proud or cruel, just hollow. Then she was gone. The doors closed behind her with a soft thud. The restaurant remained frozen in silence. No one moved. Then, slowly, the manager cleared his throat. "Sir," he said softly, "I'll ensure everything is handled properly." Desmond nodded. "Good." He looked around the room, at the faces that had watched his humiliation turn to power. "Please, everyone," he said calmly, "enjoy your meals. The restaurant will continue to run as usual." Tonight just had a bit of unexpected drama. A few people chuckled nervously. Others bowed their heads in respect. Clara approached him timidly, her eyes wide. "Sir, would you still like your wine and steak?" Desmond smiled faintly. The first genuine smile of the night. "Yes," he said. "Now I think I've earned it." As she hurried off to the kitchen, he sat down again, lifting his glass when it arrived. The wine tasted the same as before, rich and smooth. But this time it carried something extra. Vindication, perhaps? Or peace. Outside, the streetlights glowed over the city that had once looked down on him. Inside, Desmond sat quietly at his table, no longer the man who had walked in humble, but the man who now owned the room. And somewhere beyond the glass doors, a woman who had mistaken pride for power walked alone into the night, learning the hard way that arrogance always costs more than it pays. The restaurant's jazz music started again, soft and slow. The night moved on, but for everyone who had witnessed it, the story of the man who walked into Velvet Pearl on foot and left as its owner would never be forgotten.